the rich, the middle class that snap up these houses, and more ordinary people are not able to afford them. So what is agitating our minds is how to bring the homes in at a lower cost. And like my brother said, land is one of the main issues. And so if government takes off the cost of land from the house, you reduce the cost of the house by a very significant percentage. And so that's one of the things that we have adopted, and I'm happy that he spoke about it. Aside from that, we are separating affordable housing from low-cost housing. Low-cost housing can be done with local materials and bring it in at a much lower cost, especially for the districts and the rural areas. While for the more standard housing, apartments and so on and so forth, they are more suited to an urban environment. So I want to thank President Ruto for leading on this. He might add it to his hat as one of the next things he's championing. He already has a lot of things he's championing. But I can assure you that Ghana will be right beside you.
And we contend ourselves with having these stated as maxims or axioms in textual formulation existing in some fading parchment of a constitution in each of our countries. We have come to a point now where we all must appreciate that these rights mean absolutely nothing if they do not translate into tangible benefits for the ordinary people. They need decent housing. They live in overcrowded conditions of abject poverty and squalor. They look to that assemblage of persons that they have elected to lead their country, determine their fate, to provide answers to these pressing and trenchant problems that trouble them on a daily basis. We happen to be, for our respective countries, that eminent assemblage of persons given the task of leading. It therefore is our task, our obligation, to provide answers to these questions. Kenya is leading by example. We saw that they have begun to provide real answers to the challenge of housing in Kenya. They have committed themselves to building several hundreds of thousands of houses across the length and breadth of their republic. They speak to real problems affecting real people, everyday people, every day. Many of these people are subsidizing the economies of their countries. We know that if any employee has to spend more than 40% of their earnings, their salary, paying rent, then that employee is but a working destitute. And so we have to provide this housing within easy access of where employment opportunities are available. Anything short of that would amount to mere rhetoric or platitudes. Botswana, inspired by Kenya, is also now providing its own answer. We have inaugurated a program we call Bunno Affordable Housing, Bunno meaning shelter or residence or a home. We aim to build 100,000 houses within the next 3 years in Botswana. We do this because Botswana is a rapidly urbanizing country. Our rate of urbanization is in excess of the African average of 44% and the world average of 55%. Botswana's rate of urbanization is now sitting at 66.6%. We therefore must provide answers urgently, boldly, and decisively. Our people expect no less. And so I'm happy to join President Ruto, President Mahama, and other presidents across the breadth and dimensions of the African continent who will respond with speed and dispatch to this challenge of providing decent housing, decent shelter to our people. We have engaged with local banks. We have currently an advanced conversation with 3 financial institutions in Botswana. They have asked for a number of things as our contribution to the project. They ask for land to be availed. Government has committed fully to the provision of land. They have asked for other concessions in relation to the building materials, some of which they have to import, that government go easy on any import duties. The reason we also have to play our part as government is first to cement this partnership between government and the private sector, but also to ensure that we cap the price of each housing unit within ranges of easy affordability for our people. We have set a living wage that should make it somewhat easier for our people to finance, to afford, to have access to these housing units that we're building. In Botswana, I'm sure like in other places, especially in the villages, we have land boards which allocate a parcel of land to each citizen who applies. We've faced challenges in relation to this program because many of the places where the land would otherwise be availed are unserviced, no access to decent water, potable water, sanitation, roads, and such infrastructure. Our conversation with the banks involves servicing the land in addition to developing these housing units that we envisage. And we've begun. The housing units are being delivered on an ongoing basis across the country. We've apportioned, because our country has 61 constituencies. We will have a minimum of 1,000 houses in each constituency so that we do not disproportionately allocate and distribute these resources. And so I'm humbled to be part of the discussion here today, encouraged and fortified in my own resolve, because Kenya is doing it. We are coming right along. Ghana is also in the process. And the huge housing deficit that Africa has, as UN Habitat has so accurately mapped it out for us over the years, we hope will soon become a thing of the past. And human rights will now move from the text, from word to deed, as we translate the maxims and precepts enshrined in constitutions into bold and courageous actions to deliver quality, affordable, decent housing.
Ladies and gentlemen, after so much work, and I really appreciate Joy, Alice, to appreciate the work of the teams here, but also your availability for being here with us today. So it's a great honor to join you and to represent the Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, at this occasion. Allow me to begin by expressing my deep appreciation to His Excellency President William Ruto for his leadership. His initiative in launching the global call to action for adequate housing reinforces the global momentum we are seeing and provides a rallying point for governments, partners, and communities to work together. Everybody already said, housing is not simply about shelter. So housing determines whether families can escape poverty, whether women and girls can live with dignity and safety, and whether cities can grow in ways that are inclusive, resilient, and low carbon. Adequate housing is a social infrastructure, and it underpins progress across all of the Sustainable Development Goals. This is why the situation we face today is so urgent. Nearly 3 billion people live in inadequate housing, including more than 1 billion in informal settlements and over 300 million experiencing homelessness. At the high-level dialogues convened this year at the resumed United Nations Habitat Assembly and jointly with the president of ECOSOC at the margin of the high-level political forum, one message came through strongly. Housing is no longer seen as a sectoral issue, but as a platform for poverty eradication, equality jobs, resilience, and peace. The housing crisis is a defining challenge of our time. For this reason, countries in all regions are increasingly placing housing at the center of the political agenda. We just heard from 3. The European Union, for example, nominated its first ever commissioner for housing and launched the development of an European affordable housing plan. In line with the Vision 2063, the African Union highlighted the importance of housing for the economic transformation of the continent in the outcome of the first African Forum held in Addis in 2024. We also heard that financing remains a critical challenge. We heard the example of Kenya, of the housing levy. Public resources are absent, but powerful tools are not yet fully harnessed. Land-based finance, cooperative housing funds, community saving schemes could unlock vast potential, building on its long track record of delivery of affordable and adequate housing, and I thank you.